When you look in the mirror every day, what do you see? Do you see your true self? Or do you see a reflection of what society and the ones that run the game, which will no longer be running the game, want you to see? There's been such a conditioning and grooming over your lifetime. Religions, politicians, movie stars, elite lifestyles, turning you into something that isn't recognizable anymore. Feeding your mind from the day you were born that everything you do is a reflection of them. They ask you to compare yourself to them, to live by their rules, by their laws. And really, what they are saying, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, that's kind of what's been going on for generations. But now the truth has come out and people are seeing what they've been enslaved to for generations. I mean, if you look at the television and you really look at these celebrities, they've gone so far to keep their spells on you. I mean, they don't even look recognizable anymore. If you look at them, they've turned themselves into what is inside of them, what they've created inside of them. What greed and money and lust and the quest for immortality can do to someone if they let it take over their lives. At the end of the day, there's only the moment that you're living in. Think about what they do to children. I mean, now they're trying to confuse young children who should only be thinking about, should only be living in the moment and not thinking about their sexuality. But now they're pushing that on young children, or trying to push that on young children. They've made themselves abominations. They have made themselves abominations. They have done what they have allowed to themselves. I mean, pharmaca, when you look at what it's done to people and how it's destroyed as many lives as alcoholism or drug addiction, which is pretty much the same as pharmaca. We have doctors that no longer care about patients. They're just highly paid drug pushers, getting paid for every pill, every prescription that they give to people. And the politicians now are in on it too with their pushing of their toxic substance into your body. They get you with the fear. That's how they get you. I, in my personal life, care for a senior who's 89 years old. And so she's in very good shape, but she does have some health issues. She's had cancer, which is another generational curse that's been put on you. I mean, years ago when cancer first started, it was very rare. If someone you knew had cancer, it was shocking. Everybody rallied around them. And now when someone gets cancer, it's just another person who got cancer. They make it an everyday thing, like it's a normal thing, which it's not. All of this comes from poisoning your water and your food and making you think that, oh, it's a generational thing. It's in your DNA. It's not in your DNA until you allow it. Cancer comes from stress. Stress causes your immune system to be weak, so you can't fight things off. And then you add food that has been chemically altered or genetically altered or filled with pesticides and herbicides, all those things that, if it kills a bug, I don't want it in my body. I would rather have bugs eating my food, because that's a sign that the food is good and it's healthy. Because if another living organism doesn't want to ingest it, then you probably shouldn't be putting it in your body. So getting back to my little senior that I care for, I took her to one of her doctor's visits. Only now, there are no doctors in this area taking patients. There's a shortage. So now we have practical nurses who are overloaded with patients. And a lot of these patients are addicted to pharmaceuticals. So any little ache or pain or malady, they run to the doctor because they're conditioned and groomed to do that. And so as I sat with my little senior lady, she's 89 years old, by the way. She's lived a ripe old age and had a beautiful life, raised a large family of children by herself, and she walked away from an abusive marriage. So we were talking about these dizzy spells she's been having and anxiety, and it's mostly because her cancer came back and she had treatment, and this was before I started caring for her. And she's been losing sleep because she's worried that it's going to come back. And she's worried about the time in her life where, her final days. So as I was listening to the nurse, trying to figure out how to help her, she mentioned that she should be probably taking antidepressants. Now you can imagine how horrified I was when I heard her say that. Antidepressants to an 89-year-old lady. Unbelievable. Only in another dimension would someone, prescribe antidepressants to an 89-year-old lady. So of course I spoke up and I said, now is there maybe something herbal that we could give her for her stomach? Like, some ginger tea or some chamomile or something that can calm her. And she agreed with me, but she seemed very anxious to just prescribe anything and send her on her way. So the little old lady that I care for, she thanked me after because I was there for her to help her say no to something that she probably would have ended up taking. And after that, we worked on getting her on 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day, vitamin D, turmeric, and less black tea in her diet because she's been drinking that for years and it was causing the stomach upset, the tannins in the tea. And now she doesn't have dizzy spells. Her blood pressure has come down. Her cancer, skin cancer, is healing up nicely. And she's thankful, she's grateful, because the little bit that I did, I mean, it helped her. It just helped her to ease the anxiety and the tension in her body, and it made her feel like someone's looking out for her. So, you know, Pharmaca is falling. They can't keep up with the amount of people that are addicted, and we've turned our world into a world of hypochondriacs. I don't like labels, but basically, if you look around, hypochondria is everywhere. I mean, people are obsessing about growing old. They're obsessing about what they should be sexually or who they should be. And what's happening on the planet now with our DNA upgrading, none of those spells are working anymore because we need something more. We need to connect back to everything around us, the real world. And if you've walked away from television and you've walked away from following false idols on the television and you've connected with yourself, you realize that it's you you're looking for. You just want to tear away all those layers of wallpaper and get down to the canvas, or strip away all the paint and get back down to the canvas and create your new world. Nobody wants to be sick anymore. Nobody wants to be addicted. Nobody wants to follow people who are confused about their identity and think they're gods. You have the power inside of you to step away from all of that and reconnect with the true God.